Thing that you do now. Going through now at this point. Thing that you do now. Yep, that's it. Going through now. Here we are. Raring to go. So, first off, a lot of stuff did just drop today. So, like, the new Kiramager villain, Shadon, or is it Shadon? I think once I said, like, no, yeah, Shadon, I go that. He actually reminds me of this guy. Right here. He actually reminds me of like idea of like maybe like more like Vexcus from Ninja Storm. It's here. That's what he looks like, and he actually reminds me of none other than Ashura. Like based from, I could seriously being like, you like probably get away with like putting in some old footage, smashing together. Like this was like his human like form, and then he got corrupted into this by a different group. Those are called in Pirates of the Shadon clan after this guy's name, and since I already was using the evil Robo from Gekki in your summer movie, I say add the big bat from that as well. And also, I really like Madame Noir a lot. Like I actually thought Badana was going to be using Noir's suit. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So I called her Maravilia. Play on the MSC Maravilia right here. Like, you know, there was a Science Channel special on this ship. It's a Maravilia. It's Marryvilla. I think that's what I called it. How I spelled it. Right here. It wasn't really like how the endgame was going anyway with Shining Spirits. Like after Mora is used to make the second form, which is Yodon in Kiramager, for Moonsalt, whose base form is Garza, I really wasn't like Lord going. So Lord Helios is the name of the guy from Gekki in your summer movie again. Okay, there's Marryvilla for Maravilia. Then Shadon is now Tetrix. It's a weird, more old Ranger-esque name, like a bounty hunter. The idea is that Momai and Shomu, who are Gunjolji and Yabin Sword, they got in the thing with Tetrix and I was thinking like gangsters and stuff, the Shadon clan. So they had to run with them on Onyx, and then they were called back to help with Viewla's final plan, resurrecting Malga, which obviously didn't happen in this case. And you had a big chess fight match between the 7 Rangers and their mentor, Dr. Kavora, and then the 8 members of the Star clan, because Malga didn't return, and then the other, and the Momai clone, in this case, it was cloned by one of Viewla's the thing Viewla's possession, and destroyed after destroying a second appearance. But yeah, I still haven't watched 36, but my main goal was to more focus on talking about Saber, as we haven't talked about it yet, because the last live stream talking anything was October, where I was mainly talking about stuff I'd watched so far in Film Festival. And also, congrats to Cara Rubin. Hope to see you at Cedar Point this summer, maybe. So I'm working at Cedar Point this summer. Yeah, in terms of other news, when it comes to the film industry, the big thing I watched later on in semester was Brooklyn for my contemporary cinema class. So yeah, kind of interesting stories that I'm about partway through. So this girl gets a big lead of a job in lives in Ireland, gets a big lead of a job in the States in like a store in the city. Actually, it doesn't look much different than the one in that I think it's Buster Keaton. I forget Lloyd something. I think it's actually like a Lloyd something in Safety Last. Doesn't look much different than that, and that's from the 20s, late teens maybe. 1923, I think Safety Last come out. This one's in the early 50s. Malls didn't really start until the late 50s. I did look up on that during my research for the paper, but honestly didn't put anything in about it. Something interesting of note, I think I really put in anything else down in terms of later stuff. And we haven't talked about Kiramager at all since the band episode and the whole like arc with the music festival. So that's been a long time with Yodana. Actually, fun fact is that Royo actually had an idea of like, can we have a crow? Like he asked the crew, like, can we have a crow dimension? Like, at least getting Yodana, the answer wasn't no. Like they're like, and then yeah, already the idea for Ashira, like actually the design I had in my head was that was going to use in this case, crow heads that Yodana has. And yeah, that design was always in my mind, but I feel there was a bit more of an anime aesthetic to Yodana, so it wouldn't be a one-to-one replica for Ashira's first form. And also, Ashira always had two daggers called the Corvus daggers, so the whip would be out of the question. Even if I wasn't even doing anything live man based with Shining Spirits. I do feel like the 3 monitor, that was a good play by Garza. The Kiramager doesn't miss. Kiramager Gold thing is kind of fun. It's like, it's kind of like fun saying pineapple pen. No, it's pen, pineapple, apple pen guy is technically Power Ranger. And obviously, I put around that power, but didn't get to that. Only enjoying the CGI in Saber, Espada, and the original Caliber, father and son. But then Caliber is actually Saber's predecessor. Very interesting seeing that today with Caliber ultimately dying. Espada is dead. But yeah, it definitely kind of built up a little too quickly with all the heroes and such. And it looks like we have a new hero ending out the year, starting the next one in a way, kind of a weird way. And I did think of combining, like continuing like some story elements set up in Shining Spirits 20 years later in a Saber adaptation, which I call it Literary Guardians, just because the book theme, and there is a bit more like Ranger-esque-ness to them. And so you have Literary Guardians, and then you have Logan coming in with a trio called the Knights of Alton, which are his son, Max, named after Max Ellerbeck, who is Dr. Axel in Shining Spirits. His sister Natalie has a daughter named Moria Rainer, or Moria Reiner, actually. She's named after Lady Moria, who is Mabushina's counterpart. And then you have Sasha Gravis as a new regional rep by that point in 2042. That would be because Shining Spirits is set in 2022, because I said that Chivalry Force is the 2021-2022 school year, even though obviously it's been. And then Shanks is summer 2022, going from the first week of May, which is when Chivalry Force ends, up to around mid-August, because them living in Ohio, that's when school starts. I have cousins in Indiana, and they start second, third week of August. Like, later years in high school, like when I was doing this channel, it was always start like the last few days, last week of August. And now in college, we start September 1st. That was for this year, next year. But before that, it was for that Labor Day was a bit early. Yeah, this past year was from after this year. Next year, it's after Labor Day, but previously it was the day after Labor Day. As a freshman and a sophomore. Drop that. Whoops. But the main thing that I want to talk about were about Beast Morphers and Kiva, which I watched back in September. I've actually already finished Forza and 17 episodes in as of this morning on Q-Sensei Google 5. Gonna try and get an RPM as well for another live stream. Just like this, Talkin Toku Live Retro Edition. You might already seen it pop in your subscriptions or whatever, but that is currently scheduled for the week of MLK. MLK is the 18th, currently it's scheduled for the 19th, but might have been 24th or 25th, depending on how RPM goes and that. I'm not going to get much further about the channel at this point. I'm going to wait until Kiramager ends, which should be February 28th of this year, with next series and Kaiser starting on March 7th. Interesting stuff there. That I really want to talk about that, but drop some bits about Beast Morphers right now. So Gavin, he is an alien. So he's an alien guy. Can half human, half machine. I feel that they did a good job in translating that. And it's kind of parallel steel, which kind of becomes more important later on with it's great to be their musical. It's great to be even. Yeah, like, they talk about how that they spent a whole day shooting that musical number. So I applaud them for putting all that energy into that. So it can't really knock how much they invested into that, even though there's a show for 4 or 6 year olds. I did have an idea for episode 4 Chivalry Force called Knights for Sirens. It's more based on Henry, like Element Life is probably closer to like the Henry Danger musical, where this idea here might be closer to what I have with Carter's guest appearance on Shining Spirits with the rap battle episode, which I still haven't watched. Probably not gonna get to that before Christmas. Might get to it tomorrow morning. If I don't, probably after Christmas, over the weekend, unfortunately. But yeah, they expect Dr. to come back after the quote unquote discovery of the vault. And honestly, I think everybody kind of knew from the beginning that they probably would end up making Evox connected to Venjix. And Devin and Robbie's mom were put, and didn't see Burke after a certain point. So guessing Robbie's mom took over Burke's position, and Devin now has Shaw's position. And Shaw was Sean, Commander, and Robbie were painting at the end. That's kind of fun based off their relationship earlier on. And you're right. I think I can see like people saying like Zoe really wasn't given her best, unfortunately. I don't know if it's because they didn't have a second girl, and that's kind of why Simon was like would decide to turn the Green Ranger from our soldier into a girl for Dino Fury, hoping that would hopefully do something better. And maybe hopefully integrate comedy into one of the Rangers, just obviously money there. One, I feel that actually kind of saves money, and two, it would probably help more quality wise. But that's just me though. And obviously, the big top thing I want to talk about today was Kiva. Obviously, I watched that back in September. You know, I kind of feel like Jiro is kind of a product of his time. He's kind of hot, but I do feel he probably didn't have a good behavior of. I feel he's kind of wanted a wife to help repopulate his wolf people, but yeah, I do feel that he's definitely like, you know, part of those, you know, that kind of group of guys. You know, I'm not gonna name names, but I think you're all getting what my point is. I just posted a video about the Me Too movement some time ago, so if you haven't watched that, go back and watch that. It might be a bit more coach-related, but there is a little Toku bit in there. Hope you enjoy it. Toei's extra run on Lays Man, where Son Wataru is an antisocial. I quote him as the antisocial underdog. Like, since I wrote this, but I wrote down introvert who just wants to make violence. Just because he wants to make one that's equal to his father's Bloody Rose, which was actually made by the old queen of the Fangrace. That's why it's so special, and obviously you can't beat that. You can just fix it at one point. And I do feel like Jiro and the two other monsters at that time, they could have gone their own spin-off. 2.5 Godfathers, which pretty much the Kiva episodes written from their perspective, but only for like side the present. And even before they and even before I actually watched this, I had an idea like doing like a 2 timeline series, but as a Western background for the past side, and then the modern one is like a bit more like a spooky side to it, if you get what I mean. And you know, like how Saga, which is Kiva's half brother, because he's both parents are Fangray, where Kiva obviously Atoya is his dad, and then the old queen. You know, Saga reminded me a lot of how Trent dresses. I wonder if that's just a product of their time, or Toei was looking at Disney and we kind of like how Trent dresses, so we're gonna make Saga dress like that, even though this is like 4 years apart from Dino Thunder to Kiva, or coincidence or whatever. Don't think much to say on a Yuri and Megumi, but there's one scene in the 80s where you see the Big O wheel. They digitally removed Thunder Dolphin, but like, why did you go all the way and do the Ferris wheel? Both Thunder Dolphin and the Big O were added for the 2003 season. But I'm sure, obviously, Toei knew. I keep saying it. Toei kind of knew they were doing that, and that's why Leon and Hurricane is built from a yellow Big O and what looks like a dueling steeplechase. I'm not sure why. I think in the 80s at that time, I think they had a boomerang. The two-way coaster, that thing I've been mentioned a bit is giant coaster. Yeah, that appeared in Live, and I've talked about that one quite a bit. Boomerang was 1984. This was set in 1988. So they've had two-way coaster at the time, and an Ultra Twister. And also they had I thought it was called Warp Gale, it's Linear Gale. That lasts from 1998 to 2010. And that appeared in Hurricane. I think also Yokohama Kazu World appears in one episode of Kiva. And I think they're out there during that's near where the prom is in Forte. But I'll get to that next time. Oh, and this boomerang here was actually an arrow boomerang. That includes that's like Black Widow, like Black Widow, Six Flags New England, D-Mac Kings Island, Diamondback, like Diamondback Lightning Loops, When I Was Python, when I was still around as Diamondback, Revolution over in Blackpool, Sidewinder, Idealist Gardens, guess percentage from boring baseball. I guess these are all these are all the one. All kind of like push your side point. Train's pushed off, goes to the loop, hits another thing that pushes it back through the loop and into the station. Because there's nothing that would be contrary in this case, from what I'm seeing. But yeah. And also I done quite a few tweaks recently. Besides a whole big villain change recently. Like when editing this is a lot more lined up together. As well as when you look at it on phone, it's lined up well. Yeah, asterisk there because Andrew mentioned Tenki's 19. They mentioned Aaron helping them find Scott Brattlebore in episode 22, but you only see those four. We only see them in archive footage in episode 38. I don't think why, because they appeared when they all went to Alton Towers, I think. Probably cool as well. Not quite sure. Don't quote me on that. Funny idea to end off something is that they end up trying to find Alec at the end of the episode after Ed Hart dies, just so he's on this very dark, heavy note. It's like, it's very dark, but it ends on this like weird, quirky note of finding Alec is like an age-old joke. And the Knights of Alton. Haven't fixed their pages to show that yet because I have no idea what those are going to look like, if they're going to be based off Saber Riders, if they're going to be completely original characters and really ignore and throw some of the writers that are actually in the series completely off the table. Other thing I saw in some of the scans is that Silver becomes white at one point, or one point later on in the next month. So right now that leaves left recently, that leaves the original Robos. Like what's not original would be what I call the Diamond Megazord components, which are Force Machine Rodon, Silver Rocket Orion, Blazing Zord, Terran Zord, and the Rescue Zord. Those are the Polar Zord because you need to cover up like the reverse Conway Stone. So you have the Polar Zord from Mark, Striker never appeared in the show. Or maybe planning to be the movie mecha the whole time and not Zebulon. So, yeah. That being Mulan's possession, Hornet originally in Sean's possession, that's now Declan's. And then Liger. I had all this time that Stone's got to get a special Tiger Lion robo that would function a lot, kind of like how the Zenkaiger robos are, and we kind of already saw a hint of that to an extent within the Titan and Phoenix combination. Yeah, I could obviously combine the Espan Bullet for Maria and Natalia if I really needed to. Or give one to Maria and then make something for Natalia. And then give Rigor to Natalia, or, but. Yeah, I don't really want to talk about Zenkaiger, but I probably shows that I could see some people not liking the crackhead red motif that's really going on. But yeah, it's quite good. We'll see how it works out, but yeah, it could happen, it might not happen. In terms of this could be good. That kind of like a Dosmas on this one, as long as Zenkaiger is kind of decent and doesn't feel like they're, there has to be it's kind of sound interesting with the Kikaloids, and that could be an interesting story to work on even years after Zenkaiger is done. That's if Sentai isn't canceled. Yes, it's only about 6:30 as we speak. I don't feel there's anything else I really want to mention. Can't really think of any other things I watched for contemporary national cinema off the top of my head anymore. Yeah, there's a big one I wanted to drop on was Brooklyn, because I had a paper on that, along with the video I did for Interesting Media, which is G-Force and Me True Story. Did the job interview paper, kind of as mentioned, looking at Cedar Point for that, and then I was like, hey, I'm going to take a risk and actually apply to work at Cedar Point. So yeah, I put in for write-up. They gave me a different job, and I was like, I'm going to take it, even though I found out later it's only $9.40 an hour. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Try to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.